The security has been the biggest issue. I can trust these braces so that I can do things that I never attempted to do before. That has really been put to the test with the hiking. You know, I used to look at a hiking path and be like, there's no way I can't do that. And I wouldn't even attempt it. Now I look at the hiking path and I think to myself, there's probably no way I can do this, but I'm going to try. And then after you do it, you build so much confidence that the next time you come to that same situation, you don't have to think about it. Biggest moments is that because both of our children are adopted, we have met their birth mothers. And it is incredibly nerve-wracking to be in a process where somebody could be giving you their child and you are trying to look as healthy and normal and every opportunity available to this child that you possibly can so that they can make the best decision. And our first son's adoption was a little bit different because I didn't have dynamic bracing then. And so it was a real struggle. I remember, you know, when we were in the hospital with his birth mom for 2.5 full days, to basically fake it until I could make it. And that consisted of, you know, my husband being the one that was holding the baby all the time in the hospital, or, you know, me sitting down a lot in her presence, or, you know, and not being dishonest, because she did know that I had Charcot-Marie-Tooth. She was very aware of that, and that was all. But at the same time, you want to appear as capable as you possibly can as a parent. In any situation, I don't care if it's adoption or not, you want to be the most capable mother. You want to come off as somebody who can take care of her children and love them the best. And having dynamic bracing solutions for our second adoption made that whole experience so much easier. I was standing and walking around with the birth mother. I was interacting with her. I was, you know, I didn't get to hold the baby in front of her because he was in the NICU, but I would have felt comfortable doing that. And that was a huge, huge thing for us. I think I said at the beginning, we would not have adopted another child if we had not had dynamic bracing solutions. The first infant experience was very, very challenging for me. It was very difficult physically. It has been a completely different experience the second time. And for that, I will always be grateful. It makes a huge difference in how I feel about myself, my self-esteem. I don't feel, you know, I don't feel like I'm on display anymore. Like people are watching me, waiting for me to screw up or fall or take a misstep or, you know, put my child in danger. I don't know, the list goes on and on. I just remember this one. I had a friend email me a few months ago and she's like, so I saw you at the grocery store the other day and you didn't see me because you were flying through the store and you had both the kids in the cart. And she's like, I almost didn't recognize you, but I recognized the kids. And she said, I couldn't even believe how fast you were. You were moving on out. You were not in there to play around. And I had to laugh because I'm like, good. That's what I want people to see. You know, I want them to see somebody who's on a mission. I'm going to get this done. I can do it by myself. I don't need help all the time. And so that has been a huge, huge life-altering thing for us, to not have to be dependent on somebody. And that, I think that's everybody who has a disability, that's their goal, to get as independent as you possibly can. I really honestly feel like my CMT has probably gotten better, if it's even possible. It definitely hasn't gotten worse. But I think I walk differently when I'm not in my braces now. Definitely hardly ever take them off because I just don't see the point. Why would it, if I feel so good in something, why would I take them off? That's one of the reasons why I drove all the way out here for a little adjustment, is because I could not fathom not having them for 3 days. I think that even the way that I reach for things with my hands has improved, because when I'm reaching for things with my hands now, I'm not also trying to keep my balance. So I can focus all of my energy into dexterity with my hands or whatever it is I'm doing instead of having to also keep my balance at the same time. Since I've gotten these braces, my husband was able to take a different shift. He works second shift now. I do everything alone in the evenings with the kids by myself. And that wouldn't have happened before. That would not have even been considered. He took the shift for us to align our weekends. And being able to have the same weekends now means activities all weekend long. We go on motorcycle rides, we go on family camping trips. We've gone canoeing and tubing this summer. We've gone everything, street festivals, walked a festival up in Santa Barbara the other day, walked all the way to the end of the pier and back, and then the whole street of festival all day long, probably 3 or 4 hours straight of walking. Falls, not happening anymore. Falling 2 to 3 times a week before. I think I've fallen 3 or 4 times since I got my Dynamic Bracing Solutions, and each one of those times would have been a fall that somebody normally would have taken. Walked out on the sidewalk, didn't know it was icy, fell off the sidewalk. Stepped in a hole out in the yard that I didn't know was there, tripped and went down. These are falls that normal people would take now. And in 2 years to only have 4 or 5 of those, I was having those 4 or 5, 2 or 3 a week. So that's a huge reduction. No hospital visits since I've had them at all. I had 2 in the year before we came. Dynamic Bracing Solutions obviously costs more than your mass market bracing, but what you're paying for is a complete lifestyle change, a complete increase in quality of life, a complete do-over of everything. You're not gonna have the falls. You're not gonna have the hospital visits. You look at the things that have cost money over the years. That's what I look at. I look at the wheelchairs, the equipment that I've had to have at my house. How do you put a price on being able to go run with your kid out in the yard? You don't put a price on that. So yes, it's a commitment, it's a challenge, and I'm glad that my husband and I didn't do it until we did, for one reason and one reason only, is that I don't think we understood the commitment and the challenge that it was gonna take before we had kids. Do I wish now that I could go back and have them from the very beginning? Yes, absolutely. But I don't think we were really serious about it the first time that we reached out to you. And I'm glad that we had our heads screwed on straight when we did, because it's a huge commitment, it's a huge challenge. You're not putting these on and walking out of here with a complete, instant change. It takes work, it takes 2 years, and I'm still working on it. I'm still perfecting the mechanics of it, which is, anything worth having is worth working for.